Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
What if I told you the secret to success isn't hidden in a book, but in your alarm clock? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get so much done while others fall behind, even with the same 24 hours? And what if the way you start your morning could decide the entire course of your life? We all live under the same rule of time: 24 hours a day, 1,440 minutes. No more, no less. Time is the great equalizer of humanity. What truly separates people isn't how much time they have, it's how they choose to spend it. And here's the truth that often gets overlooked. Your morning routine gives you the highest return on that investment. When you win the morning, you set the tone for the day. And if you win enough days in a row, you start winning at life. It may sound like a simple idea, but don't be fooled. Like many of life's simplest truths, it carries enormous power. Let me share something with you, something that might completely shift the way you see your mornings. Most people begin their day in reaction mode. The alarm sounds, and without a second thought, they reach for their phones, scrolling through emails, reading headlines, checking social media. From the very first moment, they're responding to the world's demands, not their own intentions. It's like handing over the steering wheel of your day before you've even had a chance to sit in the driver's seat. But successful people, they don't start their day by reacting. They start in creation mode. Before the world has a chance to speak, they've already decided what their priorities are, what energy they want to bring into the day, and where their focus needs to be. They don't let life dictate their course. They design it. And it all starts with a morning routine that fuels their clarity, purpose, and intention. Think of your morning routine as your personal power hour. It's your time to invest in yourself before the demands of work, family, or the world come knocking. It's your opportunity to fill your own cup so you have something real and meaningful to pour into others. Now, I'm not here to sell you some one-size-fits-all blueprint for the perfect morning. The truth is, what works for one person might not work for another. The goal isn't perfection, it's alignment. You need a morning rhythm that supports your goals, reflects your values, and keeps you moving in the direction of your vision. That said, there are 3 powerful elements you can weave into your morning routine that can transform not just your day, but your entire life. The first is mindfulness. Taking a few moments to become fully present, to quiet the noise and center yourself, is a rare but powerful act in today's distracted world. Whether it's meditation, prayer, or a moment of silence, the ability to calm your mind is becoming one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Think about it. Your mind is like water. When it's agitated, everything becomes distorted. But when it's still, clarity returns. Practicing mindfulness in the morning helps you settle your inner waters. So when the storm of daily life arrives, you're not swept away. The second element is gratitude. Beginning your day with appreciation for what you already have can completely shift your emotional state. It's nearly impossible to feel stressed, afraid, or angry when your heart is rooted in genuine gratitude. Try taking just a few minutes each morning to write down 3 to 5 things you're thankful for. It's a small habit, but over time, it rewires your brain to search for what's good rather than what's missing. The third key element is visualization. Olympic athletes have relied on this powerful technique for decades, and not just because it sounds good on paper. They use it because it works. Spend just a few focused minutes each morning visualizing yourself succeeding at your most important tasks. Picture yourself navigating the day's challenges with calm confidence. See yourself communicating clearly, making progress on your goals, and showing up as your best self. Here's the fascinating part. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between vividly imagined events and real experiences. That's why visualization is such a powerful mental tool. When you practice success in your mind, you're actually preparing your body and emotions to follow through in real life. So why not use this to your advantage? The fourth element is physical movement. Your mind and body are deeply intertwined. When you move your body first thing in the morning, you're not just jump-starting your physical health. You're igniting mental clarity, focus, and energy that can carry you through the entire day. Now, this doesn't mean you need to hit the gym for an hour at sunrise. While an intense workout can be beneficial, Even gentle stretching, a brisk walk, or a short yoga session can get your blood circulating and your energy flowing in the right direction. Next comes learning. Successful people are curious by nature. They don't stop learning after school. They make it a lifelong pursuit. Just dedicating 15 to 30 minutes each morning to reading, listening to an educational podcast, or studying something meaningful can compound into profound wisdom over time. It's like feeding your mind high-quality fuel before the day's demands begin to deplete your mental reserves. And then there's planning, a step too many people skip. Taking a few minutes in the morning to review your goals and lay out your top priorities sets a clear direction. Without a plan, you can easily become reactive, consumed by distractions and urgent tasks that pull you away from what actually matters. As Jim Rohn once said, "Don't start your day until you've finished it on paper." Now, maybe you're thinking, that all sounds great, Jim, but I can barely find time to brush my teeth in the morning, let alone do all of this. And believe me, I get it. We're all busy. Life doesn't slow down. But here's what I want you to know. You don't need to do everything all at once. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Start small. Choose just 1 or 2 practices that truly speak to you and begin there. Maybe it's 5 minutes of mindfulness and 5 minutes of reading. That's more than enough to begin with. What matters most is consistency. When you repeat small positive actions each day, they begin to build momentum. And over time, the results can be extraordinary. If you're truly committed to changing your life, you may need to make space for this morning routine. That can mean going to bed just a bit earlier so you can rise with more time for yourself. It's not about adding more to your plate. It's about investing wisely in the foundation of your day. Because ultimately, the quality of your life is directly linked to the quality of your daily habits. And your morning routine? It's the anchor habit, the one that makes all your other positive choices more likely to follow. I remember talking with a young entrepreneur once who was struggling with. I once spoke with a young entrepreneur who was frustrated by the inconsistency in his business. He would go through short bursts of intense productivity, only to be followed by days of procrastination and low momentum. When I asked him about his morning routine, his answer revealed everything. He didn't have one. Some days he'd wake up early, others he'd sleep in. Some days he'd hit the gym, while other mornings he barely got out of bed in time to start work. The inconsistency in his mornings mirrored the inconsistency in his results. So, I gave him a simple suggestion: create a non-negotiable morning routine, even if it's just 30 minutes long. Stick to it every single day, including weekends. It didn't have to be fancy, just consistent. 3 months later, he came back to me with a new light in his eyes. That small shift had changed not just his business, but his entire life. His energy became more stable, his focus sharper, and most importantly, his results spoke for themselves. That's the real power of a morning routine. It's not only about how you begin each day, it's about who you become in the process. Showing up for yourself day after day builds something far more important than any to-do list ever could. Every time you follow through on a commitment you make to yourself, like waking up when you said you would or following through on your plans, you strengthen your self-trust. And self-trust is the very foundation of self-confidence. When you begin to rely on yourself, when you consistently do what you say you're going to do, you develop an unshakable belief in your ability to follow through. And let me tell you, there's nothing more empowering than that kind of belief. It becomes the fuel that keeps you steady when things get tough, when obstacles show up, when a road isn't smooth. And if you're on a path worth taking, that moment is guaranteed to come. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Jim, I'm just not a morning person. I do my best work at night. And I hear you. We all have different rhythms, different natural peaks of energy. But I want to challenge you to test this out for yourself. Try creating a morning routine, even a short one, and stick with it for just 30 days. Why? Because the morning is usually the only part of the day that we have full control over. As the hours pass, unexpected demands pile up. Tasks, messages, and interruptions can steal our focus and drain our willpower. By starting your day with intentional actions that nourish your priorities, you're giving your most valuable energy to the things that matter most, rather than just what's urgent or demanding your attention. And who knows, you might surprise yourself. With enough consistency, you may discover that you've become a morning person after all. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. What we label as personality is often nothing more than long-standing habit. And habits, when approached intentionally, can absolutely be changed. Let me share a personal story. Years ago, I found myself facing the same struggle. I had big dreams and ambitious goals, but progress was slow. My days were being hijacked by the needs and requests of others. I wasn't in control of my schedule, and as a result, my most important work kept getting pushed aside. Back then, my most important work was constantly being pushed to the margins. I always intended to get to it, but something else always seemed to come first. Then, a mentor of mine introduced me to the concept of the morning routine, and everything began to shift. He challenged me to reclaim the first hour of my day, not for emails, not for meetings, and definitely not for scrolling through notifications, but for myself, for my growth, my goals, and my priorities. Just 60 uninterrupted minutes to focus on what truly mattered most to me. At first, it felt like a stretch. I had to start setting my alarm earlier, which meant going to bed earlier too. I had to break the habit of reaching for my phone the moment I woke up. It wasn't easy. I had to reshape my habits from the inside out. But I stayed committed, and that single decision, to own the first hour of my day, became one of the most pivotal shifts of my life. I began noticing a powerful change in how I showed up in every area. I was sharper, more energized, more intentional. My creativity deepened. My reactions became more thoughtful. And most importantly, I finally started making consistent, visible progress toward the goals that once felt stuck on the back burner. That's the hidden power of a morning routine. It's not just about checking off tasks faster or being more productive, though those are great benefits. It's about becoming the kind of person who can consistently do what it takes to build the life they truly want. You know, it's often said that most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. The same truth applies to our days. We tend to cram too much into a single day, then feel frustrated when we fall short. But what we often overlook is the incredible impact of small, consistent actions, repeated daily, stacked year upon year. Your morning routine is the ideal space for building those small wins. Just think about it. 10 minutes of meditation each morning may not feel transformational today, but in a year, that adds up to over 60 hours of mindfulness. 15 minutes of reading each day, that's the equivalent of finishing nearly a dozen books. And just 20 minutes of movement in the morning adds up to more than 120 hours of physical activity across the year. These small investments, though easy to overlook, compound over time. Like financial investments, they grow quietly but steadily, and the returns are life-changing. Better health, sharper thinking, deeper emotional resilience, clearer purpose, and stronger relationships. And that's just the beginning. Now let's talk about something absolutely critical to making your morning routine work: preparation. The most effective morning routines don't actually begin in the morning. They begin the night before. Spending a few minutes in the evening to prepare for the next day can make all the difference. Lay out your workout clothes. Set aside your breakfast or lunch. Clear your workspace if you're planning to write. Choose what book you'll read or podcast you'll listen to. Place your journal and pen where you'll see them first thing. Why does this matter? Because removing friction is key to follow through. Each decision you make in the morning requires mental energy. And your willpower, while highest in the early hours, is still fragile when you're building new habits. Anything you can do in advance to simplify your morning flow will help you stick with it. And consistency, day after day, is where the real transformation happens. Now, I know that starting and maintaining a morning routine doesn't always come without challenges. So let's take a moment to address a few of the most common ones people face when they begin this journey. Let's take a closer look at the most common obstacles people face when trying to establish a consistent morning routine and how to move through them effectively. The first challenge is sleep. If you're not getting enough high-quality sleep, then waking up earlier to build your morning routine will feel like an uphill climb every single day. Before you push yourself to rise earlier, you need to address your nighttime habits. That can mean setting a regular bedtime and sticking to it. It might involve creating a calming nighttime ritual, cutting back on screen time in the evening, or improving your sleep environment by adjusting light, noise, or temperature. Remember, the goal isn't just to rise earlier. It's to wake up with more energy, clarity, and presence. That begins the night before. Without proper rest, even the best routine will feel like a burden rather than a boost. The second challenge is resistance, that subtle but powerful internal voice that whispers, just 5 more minutes when the alarm goes off. Or you can start tomorrow when you feel the pull of procrastination. This resistance is completely normal. Expect it, plan for it, and disarm it before it has the chance to derail you. Maybe that means placing your alarm clock across the room so you physically have to get up to shut off. Or maybe it's texting an accountability partner after you finish your routine so you know someone's counting on you. One of the most powerful ways to overcome resistance is to reconnect with your why. What deeper reason made you commit to this change in the first place? Keep that front and center. The third challenge is perfectionism. Many people abandon their morning routines simply because they can't do it perfectly every single day. But life happens. You might oversleep, have a sick child, an early flight, or a meeting that throws off your schedule. Instead of giving up entirely, be flexible. Create what I like to call a negotiable minimum, the smallest version of your routine that you can still commit to no matter what. On ideal days, you do the full routine. On tough days, you fall back on your minimum. Maybe 1 minute of mindful breathing and a couple minutes of journaling. But the key is you don't skip altogether, because consistency beats perfection every single time. It's far more effective to do a little bit every day than to go all in occasionally and then drop off completely. The fourth challenge is a lack of enjoyment. If your morning routine feels like a checklist of chores, or worse, a punishment, you're not likely to stick with it long term. That's why it's important to make your routine something you actually look forward to. Choose books that truly excite you. Put together a playlist that lifts your energy for your morning walk or workout. Pick a meditation practice that brings you peace, not boredom. Make your journal visually inviting. Choose a pen you enjoy using. Prepare a breakfast that nourishes you and gives you something to smile about. Your morning routine should feel like a meaningful gift to yourself, not an obligation you dread. Now let's zoom out for a moment and talk about why all of this truly matters. The transformative power of winning your morning. Because when you begin each day with intention, clarity, and purpose, the ripple effect touches every area of your life. Let's start with productivity. When you use your morning to focus on what I call your big rocks, your most important tasks, you ensure those high-value priorities get your best time and energy. Let's take a closer look at the most common obstacles people face when trying to establish a consistent morning routine and how to move through them effectively. The first challenge is sleep. If you're not getting enough high-quality sleep, then waking up earlier to build your morning routine will feel like an uphill climb every single day. Before you push yourself to rise earlier, you need to address your nighttime habits. That can mean setting a regular bedtime and sticking to it. It might involve creating a calming nighttime ritual, cutting back on screen time in the evening, or improving your sleep environment by adjusting light, noise, or temperature. Remember, the goal isn't just to rise earlier. It's to wake up with more energy, clarity, and presence. That begins the night before. Without proper rest, even the best routine will feel like a burden rather than a boost. The second challenge is resistance, that subtle but powerful internal voice that whispers, just 5 more minutes when the alarm goes off. Or you can start tomorrow when you feel the pull of procrastination. This resistance is completely normal. Expect it, plan for it, and disarm it before it has the chance to derail you. Maybe that means placing your alarm clock across the room so you physically have to get up to shut it off. Or maybe it's texting an accountability partner after you've finished your routine so you know someone's counting on you. One of the most powerful ways to overcome resistance is to reconnect with your why. What deeper reason made you commit to this change in the first place? Keep that front and center. The third challenge is perfectionism. Many people abandon their morning routines simply because they can't do it perfectly every single day. But life happens. You might oversleep, have a sick child, an early flight, or a meeting that throws off your schedule. Instead of giving up entirely, be flexible. Create what I like to call a negotiable minimum, the smallest version of your routine that you can still commit to no matter what. On ideal days, you do the full routine. On tough days, you fall back on your minimum. Maybe 1 minute of mindful breathing and a couple minutes of journaling. But the key is you don't skip altogether, because consistency beats perfection every single time. It's far more effective to do a little bit every day than to go all in occasionally and then drop off completely. The fourth challenge is a lack of enjoyment. If your morning routine feels like a checklist of chores, or worse, a punishment, you're not likely to stick with it long term. That's why it's important to make your routine something you actually look forward to. Choose books that truly excite you. Put together a playlist that lifts your energy for your morning walk or workout. Pick a meditation practice that brings you peace, not boredom. Make your journal visually inviting. Choose a pen you enjoy using. Prepare a breakfast that nourishes you and gives you something to smile about. Your morning routine should feel like a meaningful gift to yourself, not an obligation you dread. Now let's zoom out for a moment and talk about why all of this truly matters. The transformative power of winning your morning. Because when you begin each day with intention, clarity, and purpose, the ripple effect touches every area of your life. Let's start with productivity. When you use your morning to focus on what I call your big rocks, your most important tasks, you ensure those high-value priorities get your best time and energy. Taking time for your morning routine is not an act of selfishness. In fact, it's one of the most generous things you can do for the people you love. Why? Because when you invest in your own growth and well-being, you don't just benefit yourself. You show up as a stronger, more present, and more intentional version of yourself for everyone in your life. If your children see you prioritizing your health, your learning, your spiritual practice, and your goals, what a powerful example that sets. You're not just telling them how to live with purpose, you're demonstrating it. And here's something fascinating I've observed over the years. When parents create a morning routine, children often begin to adapt to it naturally. They learn to respect that time, and in many cases, they even start forming their own little morning rituals. Slowly, the culture of the entire household shifts toward intentional living. Now, practically speaking, this might require some creativity. Maybe your morning routine happens very early, before the rest of the family wakes up. Or perhaps it includes your children, like doing a few gentle stretches together, sharing what you're grateful for, or reading a story that teaches a meaningful lesson. Some families keep their routines short and simple on weekdays and expand them on weekends. The specifics aren't nearly as important as the principle. You are worth the investment, and when you make that investment, everyone around you benefits. Let me share the story of one of my clients, a single mother of 3. When I first suggested she create a morning routine, she laughed and said, "With my schedule, impossible." And honestly, I understood why. Her life was nonstop. She was juggling work, parenting, and countless responsibilities. But the truth was, she was exhausted, feeling reactive, overwhelmed, and constantly behind. So we started small. She agreed to carve out just 15 minutes before her kids woke up, 15 quiet minutes for herself. That short window became her sanctuary, her sacred space to breathe, set intentions for the day, and reconnect with herself before she gave her energy to everyone else. After a few weeks, something surprising happened. She began to look forward to those 15 minutes so much that she decided to wake up even earlier. She added another 15 minutes, and soon, that small routine grew naturally because it was giving her so much value. Within a few months, her morning routine had expanded to a solid 45 minutes. And the transformation was undeniable, not just for her, but for her family. One day, her child looked at her and said, "Mom, you don't yell as much. You seem happier." Imagine that. A simple shift in her mornings created a ripple effect that touched every corner of her life. And that's the true power of a morning routine. When you change, everything around you changes too. Now, let's take the next step. Let's talk about customizing your morning routine to align with your unique goals and values. Because while there are certain foundational practices that benefit nearly everyone, the most powerful routine is the one that's tailored specifically for you. So start by asking yourself, what matters most to me? What do I want my life to look like? And what habits can I build each morning to move me closer to that vision? Ask yourself, what are my most important goals right now? Which areas of my life need more attention? What kinds of activities give me energy, clarity, and purpose? If you're focusing on improving your physical health, your morning routine might prioritize movement and proper nutrition. If you're building a business or pursuing a professional goal, perhaps your mornings should include strategic planning, reading, or learning new skills. And if you're navigating a difficult emotional season, then practices that nurture your mental and emotional well-being, like journaling, breath work, or quiet reflection, might be exactly what you need. Your routine should be flexible and responsive, not fixed in stone. What works beautifully in one season of life may no longer serve you in the next. Be willing to reassess and adjust as your goals, responsibilities, and energy levels shift. That's not failure, it's wisdom. A dynamic morning routine evolves with you, not against you. That being said, there are certain foundational elements that can add tremendous value to almost any morning, no matter your current focus. Let's take a moment to explore them more deeply. First is mindfulness. This simple yet powerful practice trains your attention and helps you become present. In a world overflowing with distractions, the ability to focus is becoming one of the most valuable and rare skills we can develop. Even 5 minutes of deep breathing, meditation, or quiet stillness can ground you and prepare your mind for whatever lies ahead. Next is gratitude. This one shifts your perspective in a truly profound way. Instead of waking up and immediately thinking about what's missing or what's wrong, you intentionally tune in to what's already good. Take a moment to write down 3 to 5 things you're sincerely grateful for. And feel it, don't just list it. Let that feeling of appreciation take root. It can dramatically shift your emotional energy from scarcity to abundance. Then there's visualization. This practice allows you to mentally rehearse success before the day even begins. Athletes have used visualization for decades to improve their performance, and you can apply the same strategy to your own life. Picture yourself tackling the day's challenges with calm confidence. See yourself progressing toward your goals. The brain often responds to imagined success almost as powerfully as real experience. Physical movement is another cornerstone. Moving your body in the morning, whether it's a full workout or just 5 minutes of gentle stretching, activates your brain, improves circulation, and boosts your mood. The release of endorphins from movement can be the emotional spark that powers your whole day. Learning is food for the mind. Dedicating just 15 minutes each morning to reading, listening to a podcast, or picking up a new skill may not feel like much in a moment. But over time, it adds up to powerful growth and expanded capability. Planning gives your day shape and purpose. When you take a few moments to review your goals, identify your top priorities, and organize your time, you shift from reacting to life to intentionally leading it. This clarity allows you to take aligned action instead of getting lost in mindless busyness. Let's not forget hydration, one of the simplest but most overlooked practices. Your body is roughly 60% water, and your brain is even more, about 75%. Drinking a large glass of water first thing in the morning replenishes your system after hours of fasting, and it supports better cognitive function, energy, and physical performance. And finally, nutrition. Whether you enjoy a full breakfast or a quick smoothie, what you eat fuels your body and brain for the hours ahead. Choose foods that give you sustained energy rather than a sugar rush followed by a crash. The goal is steady, dependable fuel, not fleeting stimulation. One more element to consider: connection. That might mean spiritual connection through prayer or meditation, emotional connection through journaling, or social connection with loved ones. Taking time to connect, especially with yourself, reminds you of what truly matters before the outside world begins to demand your attention. That sense of connection to what truly matters can take many forms. It might mean starting your day with a moment of prayer, journaling your thoughts and intentions, or simply checking in with your partner or children before everyone rushes off into the whirlwind of daily life. These small moments of presence help ground you and reinforce your values before the outside world begins to pull you in different directions. As you design your morning routine, think about including elements from the categories we've explored: mindfulness, movement, learning, planning, connection, and more. But remember this essential truth: start small. The goal isn't to build a perfect 90-minute routine from day one. It's far better to start with a few meaningful actions you can repeat consistently, rather than attempting to do everything at once and ending up overwhelmed or burned out. Consistency beats complexity every time. Now, let's address something that quietly undermines so many morning routines. Technology. For most of us, our smartphones have become nearly inseparable from our daily lives. Studies show that the average person checks their phone over 50 times a day, and for many, the very first check happens within minutes of waking up. But here's the problem. When you reach for your phone as soon as you open your eyes, you immediately enter reaction mode. Your attention is hijacked by notifications, emails, headlines engineered to stir emotions, and social media feeds carefully designed to capture and hold your focus. Without even realizing it, you're handing over control of your morning to the outside world before you've even had a chance to check in with yourself. One of the most powerful changes you can make is to keep your phone out of your bedroom entirely, or at the very least, place it on Do Not Disturb or airplane mode until your routine is complete. If you need an alarm, use a traditional alarm clock. The world truly can wait 1 hour for your attention. Your most important work, the inner work of becoming the person you're meant to be, deserves your clearest mind and most focused energy. Now, if certain apps support your routine, like a meditation app or a digital journal, that's okay. Just be intentional. Put your phone in airplane mode and use only those tools, nothing more. This helps you stay connected to the benefits of technology without falling into the trap of distraction. In today's hyper-connected, always-on world, one of the most radical and transformative forms of self-care is this: setting clear boundaries around your attention. And there's no better place to practice that discipline than during your morning routine. Let's take a moment to revisit the idea of winning the morning. What does it really mean? Winning the morning means you've started your day with intention, not reaction. It means you've put what matters most at the top of your list before responding to what everyone else wants from you. You've centered yourself. You've nourished your body, sharpened your mind, and grounded your spirit. You've filled your cup so that you have something meaningful to give. And perhaps most importantly, it means that no matter what curveballs the day may throw at you, and let's be honest, they're inevitable, you've already secured a personal victory. You've already taken a powerful step toward your goals. You've already invested in your health, your clarity, and your emotional resilience. That creates a foundation of confidence and forward momentum that carries you through the rest of the day. It's like beginning a game with points already on the board. You're playing from a position of strength, not scrambling to catch up. And here's something truly profound I've observed over decades of studying high achievers. Winning the morning creates momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human achievement. When you start your day with a few small, intentional wins, meditating for 5 minutes as planned, exercising when you said you would, reading those 10 pages you committed to, you generate positive momentum. Each small victory builds on the last, making the next one easier and more natural. Success tends to build upon itself. And so does discipline. On the other hand, when you begin your day by breaking promises to yourself, hitting the snooze button instead of getting up on time, scrolling through messages instead of doing your morning journaling, you send a different signal. You erode trust with yourself. And that quiet erosion can drain your energy, your confidence, and your belief in your ability to follow through. Skipping that important report, grabbing fast food instead of preparing a nourishing breakfast. These small decisions, seemingly harmless in the moment, set off negative momentum that can be surprisingly difficult to undo. But here's the truth. Every morning, you're faced with a powerful opportunity. The choice is always yours, and you make that choice anew each day. I've come to believe that your morning routine is ultimately about one thing: freedom. That might sound counterintuitive. How could structure create freedom? But it does. When you take ownership of your mornings, you take ownership of your life. You stop living on autopilot, and you begin to live by design. Most people operate reactively. They wake up, grab their phone, and are instantly pulled into a whirlwind of demands. Emails, headlines, notifications. Their mornings become a blur of stress and speed. They show up at work already mentally and emotionally depleted, and they spend their days reacting rather than responding, surviving rather than thriving. They move through life from a place of scarcity, always chasing, always behind, wondering why they feel stuck, unfulfilled, and overwhelmed. But when you win your morning, something shifts. You move into your day with clarity, with calm, with purpose. You approach your work, your relationships, your decisions, not from exhaustion, but from centeredness. You respond instead of reacting. You choose instead of complying. You create instead of consuming. And make no mistake, this isn't just about productivity or external achievements, though those absolutely follow. This is about living deliberately, living as the author of your story instead of merely playing a part in someone else's script. Your morning routine becomes a daily affirmation that your life matters, that your dreams and goals matter, that your physical and mental well-being are not optional, they're essential. It's your way of declaring, I'm worth this investment. And you are. You are worth every minute you spend developing your mindset, nourishing your body, sharpening your focus, and reconnecting with what truly matters. Because here's the deeper truth. The world needs what only you can give. And your morning routine ensures that you show up fully prepared to offer it. So, as we close, I want to leave you with two simple but powerful challenges. First, take the time today to design your ideal morning routine. Reflect on the season of life you're in right now. What practices would serve you best? What habits would bring you closer to your goals? What rituals would anchor you to your values? Write it all down. Visualize yourself moving through this routine. Feel the peace, the energy, the purpose it brings to your day. Second, begin. Not next week. Not when things settle down. Not when you have more time. Begin tomorrow morning. Start small if you need to. Just 15 focused minutes is enough to feel the difference. The key is to start. Make a commitment to yourself. And most importantly, honor it. Because in the end, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And your morning routine is your system. It's your foundation for success, for growth, for living the life, deep down, you're meant to live. So, win your morning. Do it consistently. Watch how the benefits quietly, steadily compound. Notice how your days begin to change. And with them, your life. Success isn't a sudden event. It's a quiet daily process. And that process begins the moment you open your eyes to a brand new day full of potential. The choice is yours. What will you do with that first hour of consciousness tomorrow? And the day after that? And the day after that? Your future self is watching, waiting to see what you decide. Choose wisely, my friends. Choose to win your morning. And you'll be well on your way to winning at life. Wishing you strength, peace, and purpose every single day. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more content that empowers you to live with intention. Take care and be well.